Hey, what's up? So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make some large-scale spooky trees so that you can build yourself an entire forest or just have some really cool Halloween decorations. They also work great for themed parties, and they work really well for stage productions, so let's do it! Items that you'll need: cardboard sheets, a sharp cutting tool, empty paper towel or toilet paper tube, pool noodles, spray foam, paint, and stretch wrap or plastic film. I'm going to start off with the 6-foot tall, 4-foot wide sheet of double-walled corrugated cardboard. I prefer the double wall over the single wall. You can see how it's got two walls plus one down the middle here. This actually gives it a little bit more stability. You can use a single wall cardboard. It works the same, except it's just not quite as sturdy for the finished product. So the double wall is always better. To start, I found the halfway point on the cardboard, which is 3 feet in this case, and drew a line all the way across. We're going to use that reference point as the halfway mark. Next, I measured a 1/2 foot or 6 inches apart and drew vertical lines all the way across. These lines will be our score lines. So when I say I'm going to score the cardboard, it just means I'm going to just barely cut through the first wall of the cardboard. I'm not going to cut it all the way through. This will actually give us some flexibility in the cardboard. Using my square to kind of help with the lines, you'll see I'm just barely going to poke through the top layer. Just lightly score right along the lines that you made. After you've made all your cuts and score marks, flip the cardboard upside down and you should be able to start bending at the score marks. Just carefully bend all the way across. Give yourself an extra second and it bends very easily. Now this is a good point if you're going to add any roots or branches to mark the spots. Now I'm just using some thicker cardboard. This is basically the stuff that comes when you buy new furniture. It's the packing, or you get a package from Amazon. Sometimes they use the bubble things and sometimes they use this cardboard. You probably have a friend that has some new furniture. This stuff is really good to make a nice thick root. I'm just going to pick a few random spots and just trace so that you have the size of a hole. You're going to cut this right off. So on this piece of cardboard, I drew a little guideline. That way you can cut it out and you can actually make 2 roots from one piece of cardboard, just depending on how you kind of draw it. I did leave the ends of it flat so that you can insert it into the tree so that the tree has something to stand on. Once we get the tree set up, these roots are just going to slide right into the holes. So I'm only going to make a quick note on here on how to do the branches if you choose the option of doing the branches. I have another video you can check out that really goes into more depth on how to do a creature's hands, branches, vines, that type of stuff. The quick version, on this in particular one, we're going to take a pool noodle and we're going to cut it in half. So we can use one noodle to make 2 branches in this case. Now you're going to take one end and you're going to make 4 slits twice as long as a toilet paper roll. And you're going to take the toilet paper roll and you're going to put it in those slits like this so that the tree branch is kind of thick right here, like right where it comes out of the tree, and it'll get thinner as it gets away from the tree. The other end, you're going to do all sorts of crazy slits. You're going to take a heat gun and you're going to heat some shrink wrap on to hold the toilet paper roll in place, and then you're going to go through and shrink wrap each and every limb. Now this does take a minute, but it'll turn out really cool if you take your time. You do each and every limb, and then you do shrink wrap vertically this way so that when we paint it, it looks like the bark is going, you know, the right way out of the tree. Make sure that you really heat each end and pinch off each end here. That's the quick version on how to make a tree branch. Now to do the bark, I'm going to use some of the greatest stuff I know of, the spray foam. I use this stuff for everything, and I would recommend using rubber gloves, because if this stuff gets on your skin, it does not wash off. You have to peel it off for a few days. It's obnoxious. Also, if you do decide to do roots, we're going to do them at the same time we're doing the tree. You don't need to do from here back, because that's just going to be inside the tree, but everything, the top, the side, both sides, we're going to do with the spray foam. When we spray it on, I want to make sure that I do not get it in the cracks, because I want this to still be able to bend. Now I'm just spreading it on there just sporadically, keeping in mind that it is going to expand and swell. But I think I need to fill in around the cracks a little more, but just go nuts with it. If you are going to do branches, to install them onto the trees, I took some shipping tubes. You can buy them off of Amazon or anywhere that shipping supplies are sold. These tubes have a 3-inch diameter. Using the tube, I'm going to trace spots that I think will work out good for the branches. And you just cut the holes out. Then I'm going to cut the tube in 45-degree angle cuts so that you have this type of cut. This is going to help hold the branches in place. You're going to take your cuts, and with the angled side facing downwards, you're going to place them into the holes. And then last thing you're going to do is you're going to glue it in place with more foam. Now there's a pretty good chance when the foam dried, some of it went into the cracks. Just go through and cut it back open. Now you should be able to fold it once again into the shape of a tree for the prop, or in half for storage. And now we paint it black. Now for the limbs and the roots, it's easiest just to spray paint that black. Painting the surface of the trees is a little bit different. It's a lot. If you use a spray can, your finger's going to hurt, your wrists are going to hurt, and you're probably going to go through a dozen spray cans just to do one tree. So instead, I went out and bought some cheap paint, and I'm actually going to turn the paint into a wash so that I can make sure that one bucket is plenty of paint to go through all the trees. Plus, the wash tends to get down in all the little holes and cracks a little easier. To make the wash, doing half paint and part water. Carefully mix it up so I don't splash all over the place, and it's going to be a much runnier paint but it will still paint. And it'll go a lot further. Sideways, up, down, whatever you need to do to get it to fill in everything, but try not to get it too wet because you don't want to soak the cardboard, because we all know what wet cardboard does. It's disgusting. Like with most art projects, a second base coat is more than likely going to be necessary. And in this case, and anytime we ever use foam, it's pretty much always necessary that we're going to have to go through and do a second coat. Once the black paint dries and you can set them upright without tripping all over the place, you're going to want to set them up so that you can see in every one of the little folds. We're going to want to paint inside of each of these cracks too, and the easiest way to do that is just use some spray paint. Don't forget to spray this crack along with each and every single one of these seams. For the best, most complete coverage, set the tree upright and spray in between each seam individually, one at a time. Once you get that done, flip it upside down and do it the other way. Now we're going to start building some layers. And I'm going to take a dark brown and a medium brown and just start spraying over some of the higher parts on here. We don't need to worry about covering it as completely as we did with the black. As a matter of fact, if the black shines through a little bit, it's actually a little bit better. I had to go back through and actually add some black back into the deeper parts and then go back again with some more brown and just kind of kept building to give me some different layers and textures. Now on the trees with the faces, I actually went back in with the black on the deeper parts to really try and start bringing that face out a little bit. Then I went back again with some more of the lighter browns and I just sprayed the higher parts. Don't forget when you're doing the browns to get the roots and the branches if you chose to add these on. To finish up the paint, we have one more color. So far we've put on black, dark brown, and a medium brown. Now we're just going to use a light tan or a very light brown, and we are going to do a dry brush on this, and that is just getting the very tip of the brush wet just a little bit and just brushing on the highest points to highlight the parts of the tree just to give it the final finishing touch. We're just going to lightly hit the highest points of all of the raised stuff. Just gives a good highlight. The same thing holds true for the branches. Just real light. And all of the imperfections and all the wrinkles are going to really pop out on these. Just as a little bit of fun, I added just a little bit of avocado green to the faces just to kind of help highlight the face in the tree to really burn that sense of pareidolia that people will get as they come through your scary forest. I topped it off with just another really light layer of the tan just to calm the green down a little bit. And finally, set them up, put them together, add some greenery if you want. You've got yourself a large-scale spooky forest. So be sure to check out some of my other videos for some fun builds. And until then, keep it spooky, my crazy friends.